Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to the Casually Fit Podcast. My name is Rob. It is episode 33, and I'm excited. It is Wednesday. We were just told that we can go outside without a mask. So look at that. Things are turning around. We're starting to, get back on track to hopefully whatever normal used to be. It's kind of weird. It's been a while since we really felt what normal is. So I'm excited to keep this trajectory and hopefully get back there. Today, I want to get into a few things, show you somebody who's been losing some weight, somebody who's been kicking and taking names. I'm sorry, I can't swear. If this podcast gets bigger, then I'll be allowed to swear. But right now, I can't. But like I said, I want to get into, show you somebody who's been losing weight. They lost 90 pounds. Also want to I want to talk about weight loss and just quickly go over just the foundational cornerstones, the pillars that you need to just focus on through all the things that you're going to go through to try to lose weight. I just want to talk about those real quick. Also, want to show you somebody that's different, a fit freak, and this person, there's going to be a surprise for this person this week as well. So let's get into that. Before I begin, let you know about my week. My week it's been a little bit different. So if you've been listening to the podcast at all, I'm sure you might know that I have had some back issues. So much so, there's a time earlier this year where I could not go surfing. I couldn't even actually lift up the 25-pound plate to put on a bar or do any of that. I had to take a pretty extended break from surfing and lifting heavy weights, at least moving the dumbbells, for about three, can't remember how many weeks it was. I wasn't keeping track. It was somewhere between, about 2 to 4 weeks. And it was a bummer being out of the water, not surfing. I love surfing. I love that as being part of my active regimen. But I wasn't able to do it. And thankfully, taking some time off and doing a whole bunch of kind of like rehab exercises got my back to where it was good and it was strong and everything was going fine. I was able to lift some weight again. I was able to get back into it to where I was surfing, working out, running, doing all of it. And one thing that happened is, when I'm at 100%, I'm not really ever at 100% with my body, but whenever I'm close to it, I get into the gym or I surf or I turn it up because I'm so used to being only at like 60%. So when I get a little bit more, I overdo it a little bit, and that's what I did. And I think it was after I recorded this podcast, or even before I recorded this podcast last week, I went surfing, and that was the beginning of me throwing my back out of whack again. And I have spent this past week, I spent the first part of the week in denial that I even had an issue. I still was trying to run, trying to do everything that I was doing, but in immense pain in my back. And then I slowly over the last few days have been tapering down and focusing more on kind of rehab stuff and slowing down a little bit. And I can say today that my back feels great. And hopefully in the next couple days, everything's back to normal. I plan on going surfing either tomorrow or the next day, and that's really like the indicator for me on where my back's at. If I can surf without any issues, my back's good. And that's all I really care about for my back as far as it being good, as long as I can surf. So I'm telling you that just to show you that, whatever you're going through, you're trying to lose weight, you're trying to get fit, it's not just a straight trajectory up. I mean, there's, the issues that you're going through now, they seem very large and they seem like they're only happening to you, but they're just part of the whole mix. When you're starting to mess around with your body as far as moving it more, putting it in, weird situations, as far as having, doing 60-pound dumbbell presses. I mean, that's a weird situation to be in. You have 60 pounds in each of your hands and you're pressing it over your head, 8 to 10 times. So when you're doing things like that, or even when you're going from not ever doing any exercises to now you have even just 10-pound weights in your hands, some things are going to happen. Some things might get a little bit out of whack. Injuries happen and setbacks happen. And for myself, I have had this, I've had this situation. I've had to come back up from the depths of inactivity due to injury many times. And, I just hope that the people out there, hopefully you can take solace in knowing that this is all part of the journey. And, you don't really have to, be excited for it to happen every time it happens, or be anticipating it to come up and being like, yes, I can't wait to get injured again. But you should find the good things in it, and one of the good things that's in it is when you do get put into that situation to where, you're going up, you're trying to get stronger, you're trying to get whatever your goal is, bigger, faster, more flexible, whatever it is. And you spend every single day doing this, and then all of a sudden, boom, you can't do it anymore. And now you have to take a step back, or maybe even a couple steps back, and you need to go sit down on the bench. That can be very, destabilizing. It can throw some people off pretty quick, and it can throw people completely off. It can spin them out of trying to be healthy and fit, and that's an issue. But the good news is that whenever you're put into these situations, you're able to really find out who you are. And that's kind of a cliche to say, but you really do find out who you are, because you have to go through so many different states of mind. You have to go through, not even thinking about being injured to all of a sudden you are injured. And if you're trying to lose weight, if you're trying to lose 60 pounds and you already got 20 pounds down, but then you got an injury and now you got to take 2 to 3 weeks off the gym, that can be a troubling time. But I think that these times when it does happen, again, don't be happy that it's coming up, or don't look for it, or don't break your leg so you can go through this experience. But when it does come up, just be like, okay, hey, this is a good time to improve. This is a good time to see how I can keep a calm state of mind, and how I can rid myself of all these anxious, neurotic, negative thoughts. How I can, maybe have these thoughts come in, but not grab onto them and take a ride with them, right? And whenever you go through situations like this, and sometimes you succeed at it, sometimes you fail at it, but you're always learn from it. Typically, at some point you'll recognize that you're learning from it. But yeah, I just want to say too, if you're going through that, or if you have gone through that and it's thrown you off track completely, get back on there, or just keep on going forward, because your body will adapt. If you injure yourself, there's usually a solution to the problem, unless you injure yourself to where you have to amputate part of your arm. But guess what? Or part of your leg. But there's people running without. There's a runner that has no legs. Like literally, they have the like metal springs. There's plenty of runners amputees who are running, who are fit. So even if that happens, there's still a path forward to where you can still try to have a healthy body. And when you're pursuing a healthy body, usually a healthy mind kind of comes with that. So that's kind of why you would want to pursue it. But yeah, I don't know where I was going with that, but I just wanted to say, sorry, got a little dark there for a second. I just wanted to say, if you're going through any kind of injury, anything like that, just keep pushing through, because on the other end of it, your body should be stronger from it, and you'll also more than likely know what not to do to get that injury again. And more than likely, your mental state will be much stronger on the other side. So don't get too down in the dumps about it. But let's get into the Fit Fighter of the Week. So This person has lost 90 pounds. Okay, that is so much pounds. That's like it's like a kid in middle school. They lost a kid in middle school. 90 pounds. It's ridiculous. And if you want to go check this person out, there's a link down in the description box. Or if you're watching, you can see it. But you can go to @CharityNelmsFit at Instagram, and you will see that she is a fitness coach and a flight attendant. So maybe you've seen her on like United or Spirit or American Airlines. I don't know where she works. I'm not like that, but I should follow her. But she has lost 90 pounds. And if you go to her Instagram, you're going to see that she talks about a lot of different things, which is why I like showing everybody these people who are out there trying to lose weight and who have actually lost weight. And she's a great example of this, because if you're watching this video on YouTube, you can see the difference from when she had 90 more pounds and what she weighs now. And I always say this with a lot of these people is when you see them now, you're almost like how did this person weigh 90 pounds more? You would never expect to hear them say that they used to weigh 90 pounds more. And I think that's kind of crazy, because I'm sure that when she did weigh 90 pounds more, she could not see herself even losing 90 pounds. Like, losing 90 pounds is such a hard thing to wrap your head around. And again, that's why I like showing everybody this. So hopefully this helps you, or if you know somebody who's trying to lose weight, send them this video, or send just a link to Charity Nelms Fit. But yeah, I think that's just a very interesting thing that happens is, through work, through diet, through all of that, you're able to achieve what you want to achieve, which is just a healthy body, right? And what comes with a healthy body has a good diet, healthy body has some strain through exercise. And when you give your body this healthy food, and when you give your body this strain consistently over time, the body just adapts to what happens. You're going to carry less fat around with you. Your skin is going to tighten a bit more. Your system inside is going to run a bit more smooth, and your breathing is going to get better as well. So that's just what happens over time. And you can just see that right here in these pictures. And she has detailed pictures. Look, I think this is this is somebody else. So she also has she's a fitness coach. So she has some fitness programs you can check out. You can also check out some on my website. But but like I was saying, as you can see, the body just adapts. Again, on some of these pictures, if you just saw her in a gym, you'd be like, well, this girl's been this way ever since she was a kid. She was never 90 pounds more. And yeah, it looks like she was much younger when she weighed 90 pounds more. So that's, losing weight and having the body adapt that quick when you're at a younger age. That's it's a different scenario when you're, a little bit later in your 30s and you're trying to make this happen. But yeah, go check her out. Again, it is Charity Nelms Fit. She talks about a lot of great things. I saw one of her posts earlier where she was actually listing off a couple things that got her to be able to actually lose weight. And one of the things that she said was that she got rid of timelines, which is I'm a huge fan of. If you watch any of my videos, it's one thing that I keep on trying to add in there as much as I can, is getting rid of the, it's April right now, getting rid of the, hey, I'm going to lose, 60 pounds by summertime so I can get the 6-pack abs. I can hit the Miami beach and go sit out in the sun and grab the girls or grab the dudes, whatever it is. And, having that very short timeline and trying to lose all that weight, or even saying, 6 months from now, whatever it is, just constricting yourself to a timeline is so much added pressure that's just completely unnecessary. And she talks about that as being one of the things that helped her actually lose weight was getting rid of a timeline. So again, she seems like a great follow. So go check her out. Other than that, let's move on to kind of the nutrition tip. Typically, I want to give you a nutrition tip and I want to give you a fitness tip. This is going to be a little bit of both together. Again, it's April. We're about to be in May. So the New Year's resolutioners, there's either people who are still going on with the New Year's resolution. By statistics, I think it's only like 30% of people are still going on with their New Year's resolution. But it is about to be summer. So I would say that there's probably going to be another surge, another New Year's resolution type of deal coming up right now where people are like, hey, I'm going to try to lose weight for summer. Again, I don't think you should constrict yourself to that timeline. I think that just sets you up for failure. But I guess, if that gets you in the gym, maybe you got to go through a couple summers of, hey, I'm going to lose 30 pounds before the summer in April. Maybe you got to go through that a couple times before, the third time you're like, well, I'm going to actually, it is April and I want to look good for this next summer, but it's probably not going to happen. But it might happen next summer. So I'm going to start now to hopefully lose the 30 pounds by next summer. That's like the better way to go about this whole thing. And so maybe it takes you a couple times to get there. I know for me, it takes me several times to learn the lesson. So I'm right there with you. So for those of you who are maybe like, hey, next year I want to be good for summer, or maybe some of you are like, hey, this summer I'm going to have that body and I'm going to do whatever I can do. To do that, I just want to give you some kind of like these are the things that, there's fitness advice, it's like a spider web. There's fitness advice all over the place. It branches out all over the place. It all kind of connects together in these weird ways and logical ways as well. But, it's like this huge labyrinth. If you're just to like display all the fitness advice on one huge screen, I mean, it would just be filled with words and arrows and all these different things, right? And so when you're going through trying to lose weight, trying to get fit, and if that's your picture every time, like, oh, I gotta do this, I gotta stick to salads, I gotta watch my calories, I gotta do this kettlebell exercise, I gotta do this one certain glute exercise, otherwise it's all gonna be for nothing if I don't have the thighs to, whatever it is, right? All of that can, through hard times, all of that can kind of confuse you, right? If you're trying to grab on to all these kind of superficial, non-concrete kind of ways to get through your tough time, it's just not really going to be beneficial for you. And it can confuse you. It can lead you astray, I think, if you look at it in this large kind of chaotic kind of scene. And for a lot of people, again, if you aren't familiar with fitness or losing weight or healthy food or dieting, exercising, any of that, I mean, it's very easy to just kind of have this whole picture of it being kind of chaotic, right? You're just not familiar with it. That's like with anything you go into, if you don't know about it, and then you just start getting bombarded with all this information, you're like, well, what's what, right? So I just want to give you these four cornerstones that I would say you need to focus on. Like these should be the 4 areas that you always go back to when you're deciding to, when you're feeling like maybe overwhelmed by what's going on or whatever, I would say just make sure you are focusing on these 4 things, okay? So the first thing is very simple. Just change your food, right? First thing that you need to do if you want to lose weight is you need to change your food. That's just, again, if you're like, I think your name's Charity. If you're like the person that just shows you, I think your first name's Charity. If you're like Charity, weighing 90 pounds more, you don't get to 90 pounds more off of salmon and salad and almonds or anything like, that just doesn't happen. So you have to look at the food that you're eating and you must change it. So if you want to look at this in maybe stages, right, or different just vectors or sectors that you need to focus on changing your food. And, you can parse that out into breakfast, lunch, dinner, and you can see, just look at what you typically eat. For most people, we all kind of eat somewhat similar things throughout the week and throughout the months. If you look at what you eat every single month, every now and then you're going to go grab something weird. But typically, day by day, Monday through Friday, trying to get through the day, trying to wake up, get dressed, get some food in your body, and then go to lunch, and then get off of work tired and get some more food in your body so you can go to sleep to go do it again. Typically, the food's going to be somewhat similar. So your food, maybe not all of it, but a lot of it is not that great, and it needs to be switched out. So if you're thinking about all these things that you have to do to lose weight, just be like, okay, yes, maybe a lot of those things are valid. Some of it isn't, like maybe don't go on a juice cleanse. Just focus on changing out your food. Oh, instead of cheeseburgers, how about just, pieces of chicken, pieces of fish, pieces of steak? How about that? Just switch that out. And I know I'm saying this in like a very, it's going to be easy. It's not going to be easy. It's just simple. The step is a simple step, but to make the step is very difficult, complex, and it entails a lot of different things. So I get that. So don't think that I'm just like, hey, why? How can you not do it? How can you not just change out your food? I'm not saying that. I understand that it is very difficult. But again, the step is simple. So change out your food. Look at your food. Look at, maybe even break it down by something like, well, how do I change out what I eat for lunch? Usually I drink a soda, eat a cheeseburger, and some fries. So what do I switch out? Maybe you don't even switch out the whole meal at the same time. Maybe you just go, you know what, I'm going to get rid of this cheeseburger. And you just grab chicken, or you just grab some salmon, some tilapia, some ribeye steak. And if you don't do that, maybe you just go, maybe you want the cheeseburger and you're like, I'm going to hold on to the cheeseburger for a little bit. I'm going to eat the cheeseburger as long as I can. And you're like, I got to get rid of the soda though. Then you switch that out with just a regular coffee or maybe just a water. And you try to get that soda out of your diet. And then you just do that for all over the place. I'm not really a fan of, for some people, if you completely switch out your food right away, if you take every single thing that you ate yesterday and you completely clean the slate and give yourself completely new food the next day, and then say to yourself, this is exactly how I'm going to eat for till the end of time. For some people, that will work. But for most people, based off how many people actually stick to a diet, based off statistics on how many people actually lose weight, I would say that way does not work almost at all. All right. Not saying that you should stop trying to do it. If you feel like you can do it and you want to do that, go ahead and do it. Because again, for some people that is going to work. For other people, you got to take bite-sized, nibbles at this, right? So you got to be like, hey, I'm going to get rid of this soda at lunch. And then next week, I'm going to get rid of my soda at dinner. And then the week after, hey, now it's time to go after that cheeseburger, right? And then you can just keep on doing that. But this cornerstone will be something that you need to focus on, and that should just be the one thing is in your mind, like, hey, I got to lose weight. Again, there's all this other information. Just focus on changing your food out. Just keep it simple in your mind as far as what actually concrete, fundamentally, the one thing that you have to make sure that you do, the one quote, the one line is change out your food. That's the one pillar, right? That's the one cornerstone. So hopefully that helps you out. Next one, again, this is going to sound condescending to some people, but just eat less, right? Again, it's not an easy thing to do. It's complex, it's difficult, but it is a simple step, right? The calories that you put in must be less than the calories that you burn, okay? About 500 calories less than what you burn. So you got to do your basal metabolic rate. You got to figure out how many calories you're burning at your workout. You got to add up all the calories you're eating for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and you got to put those two numbers together, and you got to figure out what's what. And when you're trying to lose weight, again, if you switch out your diet, that's going to, if you switch from a soda to a water, I mean, you're dropping like 60 grams of sugar right there. You're dropping, can't remember how many calories a soda is, probably like 150, 200 calories. You're dropping 200 calories right there if you go from soda to water. So that's already so switching out your diet is going to take out a lot of the legwork in your calories in versus calories out. So that's already going to take out a lot, but you also got to also make sure that you are actually eating less, because yes, you can change out your diet and you can put yourself in a very advantageous place to be in the sweet spot to be consuming less than what you're burning so you can lose weight. But that's not automatic. And it depends on everything that you're eating. It depends on your snacks. And you really have to, when you're trying to lose weight, it's not something that's enjoyable, but you do have to focus on it. You got to run the numbers. You got to crunch the numbers. Again, this stuff's easy. Tracking numbers is simple. That is easy, but it is annoying. Nobody wants to look at all the food that they're eating and be like, this is how many calories, how much sugar, carbs. Nobody wants to do that, right? So it is annoying, but you do got to do it. So that is another cornerstone for you, is to make sure that you know your numbers, okay? Up until a certain point, you don't always have to know your numbers. That's the saving grace in all of this. You don't always have to know how many calories are going in and out. Once you get down to a certain weight and you maintain that weight for a while, you're just going to know what's what, kind of. You're going to have a general sense of where your weight is at and when you're getting off the rails. And so you should have a good gauge for that. But in the beginning, for sure, you got to pay attention to it. So always go back to that. When you get a little bit overwhelmed, be like, okay, I got to change up my food. Am I changing out my food? What's going on? Oh no, I actually added food. I actually added some Suzy Q's after I get done with work. So I got to focus on getting rid of that. And also, maybe I have been eating healthy, but I haven't been keeping track of my calories at all, and I'm actually gaining weight. So my calorie count must be off. My calories burned must be off. And if you're always checking on it, then you already know what's going on, and you're probably not even going to come across that problem. But if you're never checking it, you can go 2, 3, 4 weeks of not checking it, and maybe you're not even checking your weight. And then all of a sudden you look and you're like, oh, I'm 10, 15 pounds heavier. I'm trying to lose weight. So that's where it's an issue, because then you're thinking back, well, when was the last time I checked? Oh, it was about 3 to 4 weeks ago. And then you go, oh my God, I just spent the last 3 to 4 weeks overeating because I wasn't checking the calories in versus calories out. Again, it's very annoying. Super. I mean, lose my mind doing stuff like that. But it's necessary. So go make sure you're checking that. Next is exercise more. Most people who are overweight, who need to lose weight, just generally haven't been exercising, right? Even people who do exercise don't lose weight. I see it all the time in the gym. People are just not putting out enough in the gym. Just because you go to the gym and you do a couple exercises and it's vastly more than what you were doing before, it still might not be enough. And that's a hard fact to realize, to be like, going from that completely sedentary lifestyle of never exercising, eating whatever you want, moving from sitting at work to moving to sitting on the couch and chilling, and then moving to laying on the bed with no exercise at all, to then now you got the sweatband, you got the short shorts, you got the tank top on, you're heading to the gym, you got the gym bag, right? You got the gallon of water. You go into the gym, you got all this stuff, and you do 2 or 3 workouts. Maybe do some bench press, maybe you do some pull-up, not actual pull-ups, but you just do the pull-up bar cable machine. Maybe do some dumbbell curls, and then that's it, right? And it takes you roughly, to do those 3 exercises, it takes you an hour and a half, 2 hours to do it, right? You're not putting out enough energy. So one thing I would say is to exercise more. More than likely, you're going to be in this is not sexy or exciting to hear. I'm sure some people it can be daunting, but you're going to kind of be in a perpetual state of being uncomfortable. You're never for a while. If you got to lose like Charity, I think if you got to lose 90 pounds like Charity lost 90 pounds, you have to do a lot more, right? You have to exercise more. You got to make sure your calories are lower, right? The food is a huge, huge thing, but you also have to make sure that you're exercising more for many different reasons. But as far as helping you burn more calories to make sure you are in a caloric deficit so you can lose weight, you need to be exercising more. And if you do have a personal trainer, you're pretty much already going to be on the right track. Or if you're following some sort of workout program that's on my website, you can check it out. If you're following some program like that, you're generally going to be on the right track. If you're doing exactly what's laid out in the program and you don't take 8 hours to do it, you're going to be on the right track. If you don't have a personal trainer and maybe you have a workout program and you kind of follow it, it's very easy to not be on the right track if you've never exercised before. You don't really know the tempo that you should be at. You don't really know how many days you should actually be going, or how long you should be there, or how long you should take in between sets or in between workouts. And I just see that for a lot of people, that's an issue because it gets very lackadaisical. It's very like, hey, this is more than what I was doing before, so that should be good, right? And it's clearly not. So if you focus on your exercise routine and you focus on the time that you're there, the exercises for sure matter, but they also don't matter. It's how much effort you're putting in there, okay? It's how much effort you're doing. I mean, somebody can convince you that doing these glute workouts with dumbbells and doing all these things, all these different types of workouts, all these hype workouts is necessary for you to lose weight. And in a way, they kind of are necessary. You got to work out, in their exercises. They are kind of necessary for you to lose weight. But you can also lose weight and get a great exercise in and burn a lot of calories just being on that row machine and rowing for 30 to 45 minutes nonstop, right? So that's a great exercise. So again, the exercises do matter, but the effort also matters as well. So if you remind yourself to make sure your effort is always at the peak, then that's only going to help you out. That's only going to make sure that you're in a good place to ensure that you still can lose weight and that you are still on the right track. Again, you're going to start working out and exercising, and you're going to have your workout program. Maybe you have a personal trainer. Maybe you have some videos you're watching. Maybe you're following me on Instagram, and you're watching all the posts, and you're getting excited. You're getting pumped up. You're listening to this podcast. You're listening to the Fit Fighter. You go and follow them. You're asking them questions. You're getting psyched up to lose weight. And then what happens is sometime in the future, for some people, it's several months down the road. For some other people, maybe it's just a couple days. But all that hype, all that excitement, all that rush kind of fades away. And then you're just left to still having to lose 85 pounds. And you realize that the 5 pounds that you did lose, that the 5 pounds actually took you a month of constantly exercising, eating healthy, changing out your food, and you lost just 5 pounds. And then you look forward and you're like, oh my God, I got to lose, this is going to take me a while. And then some people start looking at other things that can maybe speed it up, and that's where you can get off track. Okay, so that's what this list is for, is to make sure that when you're in that second, third month where things are getting a little tough, just come back to this list and be like, okay, these are just the things I need to focus on. Just make sure you're doing these things and you're going to lose weight. So exercise more. That means, again, more effort while you're there, and exercise more times during the week. I would say no less than 4 times a week you should be exercising if you're serious about losing weight and getting fit and healthy. If you're not that serious about it, then yeah, you can come up with a great reason to only exercise once or twice a week. It won't be not necessarily a great reason, but I'm sure it's an entertaining reason on why you shouldn't do it. And so that's the third thing. So first thing, just change out your food, figure it out, right? Pick at it or completely replace out your whole food, but just always focus on making sure that the food that you are eating is mostly healthy, right? That's the main goal, is to make it mostly healthy most of the time. So focus on that. Also, make sure you're keeping track of your calories in and your calories out, but keep track of your calories in. Make sure that you are in that caloric deficit, okay? And be honest with yourself. You're only hurting yourself if you do not count that Hershey's bar you had earlier in the day. So be honest. It's going to hurt, okay? You kind of need that pain to keep on going. But so make sure you're always checking on that. Also, make sure your effort levels are up. Ask yourself if you are getting a little lazy with it. Ask yourself this and answer yourself honestly, okay? But always keep yourself in check with that. And then next, all right? Next is to buckle up, all right? Buckle up, maybe put the seat back a little bit, maybe tilt it back a little bit, roll down the window, stick your nasty foot out the window, and sit back, relax, and just get into it, because it's going to be a long time. Okay, it is going to be a long time, and you need to kind of condition or train your mind to understand that this is not a quick fix. This is not something that's going to change overnight at all. And this is going to be a realization that you will have no matter what. Whether you believe me right now or not, if you continue to try to lose weight and you got to lose 90 pounds like Charity, guess what? Your reality will smash you in the face and tell you, hey, this isn't going to be a long time, okay? And why I have this on the list is because a lot of people, they can get too impatient. I'm a very impatient person. If if you look it up in the dictionary of impatient, this face is it's there, right? I'm not a patient person. But in some things, I have to be patient. For me specifically, whenever I get an injury, I've come through so many different injuries. My patience, in that sense, it always has to be there, right? If I don't have patience, if I don't understand that my body needs to calm down, my body needs to repair itself, I need to relax. If I don't understand that and I rush it, like today, my back was hurting a little bit and I was about to go surfing, I was about to rush it. If I did that, guaranteed tomorrow, my back would be back to where it was a week ago in a horrible state, and it would have been bad. But if I'm patient and I'm able to wait it out a couple more days, I'm going to put myself in a much better place, because when I do go back out and surf, my back will be stronger and I'm not going to take that huge setback. So when you're trying to lose weight, if you're just trying to lose weight, and you realize after a month or 2 months that this is going to be a long time and you're not patient, you can kind of lose your mind a little bit. You can kind of then start going to the crash diets, then start looking up weight loss pills, then start looking up these sweatband things that people are wrapping around their stomachs. Or you go and look for the juice cleanses, or you go and look up surgeries, So one thing, so this is on the list to just remind you that, hey, figure out a way in your own mind to be fine and to take solace and be calm with the fact that this is going to be a while. Okay, the phrase "enjoy the journey" is such an annoying phrase to anybody who is in the midst of the journey, in the trials and tribulations, when you are going through the rough parts, when you're crawling out of the mud, when you're trying to reach up and you hear somebody say, hey, just enjoy the journey, right? It's very annoying. And, but it is true. It's 100% accurate. And the more you are able to let your guard down and not be annoyed with that fact, the better off you'll be. And that's why I have this on here, is to just remember that, hey, this is going to take a while, okay? You still have to, just because it takes a while doesn't mean that you let off the gas or you don't focus on these other things. No, it takes a while. What's the best way to say this? It's going to take a while if you do all those things. Even if you follow it perfectly, if you change your food, if you eat less, you exercise more, it's going to take a while, right? If you don't do any of those things, or if you half-ass most of those things or all of those things, it's going to take forever and it might not actually happen. It's more than likely not going to happen, okay? And if it does happen, right, like if you just decide to eat less, if you just get into you can have this circumstance so where you just keep eating what you are eating. You don't change out the cheeseburgers, the fries, the shakes. You don't change out the bad food. You just decide in your mind, hey, I'm just going to eat less. I'm not going to exercise either. I'm just going to eat less. And you actually stick to eating less, still eating the bad food, but you just eat less of it, and you actually get yourself in a caloric deficit, and you are able to do that for a long time, and you do lose weight. Whatever weight you had in your mind, say if you're like, I'm going to get down to 165 pounds. Again, if you're able to do that without exercising, changing your diet, just eating less, which is possible, and you only have that 165 pounds in your mind and you're just laser focused on it, you're obsessed with it, and you just can't wait till you get there, and then finally, 6 months, a year, however long it takes, you're finally down back at that 165. Guess what's going to happen? Very shortly after that eating less, you're going to stop eating less because you made your weight. And guess what? You still have the bad eating habits. You're still not exercising, and you're going to gain all that weight back. Okay, so that is, I don't know how I started on that. That's obviously a problem, right? And that is something to where try and tie it back into I forgot. That's my bad. I forgot how I started on that. But yeah, the last one is to, settle in. Okay, settle in for the journey, and yeah, just don't panic. Just don't panic, because again, look at the Fit Fighter, look at Charity, look at anybody else I've highlighted. You can just go to all the previous Casually Fit podcast episodes. You can go to all the links. It works. Changing out your diet, eating less, exercising, it just works, right? Again, these are the fundamentals. You can be somebody like Charity, who now looks like somebody who has always looked that way, right? It is 100% possible if you focus on these fundamentals. Now, to end off the show, let's get into the Fit Freak of the Week. And this is a surprise this week, okay? One thing that motivates me and gets me excited, I'm 31 years old, and when I see other 31-year-olds, 35-year-olds, even, 20-year-olds doing some crazy things, yes, that's very cool in a lot of ways. It's very like, oh, wow, they can do that. But also, it's not really that stuff doesn't motivate me. That stuff doesn't really inspire me. It's just something cool to see, right? What motivates me, what inspires me and gets me pumped up, just completely jacked up and just happy, really, is seeing just old people, basically dead people, just killing. It's a joke. Just killing it. Just people who are extremely, going against the grain. Just those older cats who stayed in the gym or who are way ahead of the curve. I mean, these guys, when you see a 50, 60-year-old man who is killing it in the gym, they're way ahead of the curve, all right? They've known before all the science was in, everything was in, maybe because they're addicts, they're addicted to the gym. That could be a reason, but we'll say it in good light, right? We'll say this in good light, that they decided to do it because they felt all the great benefits from it. But these people are way ahead of the curve. They were doing this in the, like 70s, 80s, 90s, when going to the gym, exercising wasn't really a big thing. And it's still not. If you just look at the numbers, going to the gym and exercising, it's a very popular thing to see, right? We have The Rock as like the #1 movie star, but it's not an actual popular thing that people participate in. And that's just by how many people actually work out. It's not that many people. But this person today, super ahead of the curve. His name is Julian Maltano. So at Julian Maltano, this dude is 53 years old, and he's killing it, right? So take a look at him again. If you're on the YouTubes, you can see this guy's a bodybuilder. I think he might still do competitions. If you're looking at the picture I'm looking at right now, this dude's jacked, right? He is huge guy, right? Possibly some juice. I don't know if this guy likes apple juice or not. By the looks of him, I think being 53 years old, having abs, chest, shoulders, I mean, this dude's he looks like he looks like an older bodybuilder, but he is a big, strong dude. I mean, I think he likes apple juice, right? So that's nor here nor there, right? I'm not judging the guy. I'm just saying, just so we can be transparent about this whole thing, right? But this guy's very inspirational because, look, 53 years old. I mean, if you watch this podcast at all, you will know that I am not somebody who is all about I'm not about the looks, right? I completely understand why people gravitate towards the looks as being their primary motivation to, losing weight or getting fit or exercising or whatever. I think that's a fault. I mean, I just think there's better ways, there's just better ways to kind of motivate yourself to actually go to the gym, but whatever floats your boat, floats your boat. But so I'm not really a fan of all the posing and the bodybuilder kind of thing. But what I am a fan of is that clearly, I mean, to be 53 years old and have these huge, like, tree trunk legs, 6-pack abs, and just look so jacked, like a vein that's like bigger than my arm, right? On his arm, with hashtag, it says ripped quads on there. To be that, you had to put in so much work. You had to be clanging and banging, as they say. You got to be pushing up some weight. And that means that this man is a 53-year-old man inside the gym, you know, just pushing up weight. I doubt he is running. I was gonna say he's running. Most of these bodybuilder types don't run, but he's clearly working out. And again, this is kind of against, you know, even when I was growing up in the 90s, right? 50-year-old men were basically, I mean, they weren't alive, man. Their time had already passed. Like 53-year-old men were just, you know, that was like 40-year-old was old. 40-year-old was like, you're like, society's not really going to care about you very soon. And as they shouldn't, because you can barely move. You're very fragile. And that's kind of how it was. But now in 2021, that seems to be changing. There's a lot of these fit freaks out there who are exercising well into their 50s, right? I met an 80-year-old man who shoved me in the chest and then pounded his chest and said, "I'm 80." And I loved that. That was an amazing experience that I will always remember. And, you know, that's an 80, and he was a strong guy. I mean, he was not a fragile man. This was an 80-year-old man that, like, I mean, he was a strong man. I mean, we weren't fighting. He was just, like, it was so random. I said hi to him, and then I don't know why he did that, but we had a laugh about it. But yeah, so that's not really, those types of people were like, every now and then you kind of hear about them, where you see people who are just crazy fit, who are old. Now it's for sure a thing. And then even in the next 20 years, I mean, the amount of jacked 50-year-olds that there's going to be in the next 20 years. I mean, 20 years, I'll be 50 years old. You better believe I will be putting, you know, no disrespect, but putting Julian Maltano to shame, okay? You better believe I will be box jumping and sprinting, and I'll have nothing else to do at 50 years old. I'll start putting up all these workout videos with my shirt off. He does post a lot without his shirt. I mean, he's got the goods to do it, but it is a lot of posts without a shirt for a 53-year-old man, okay? But we are highlighting, one thing that I tend to do on this is sometimes I tend to shit on the people that I'm trying to highlight. And I'm going to try to stop that tendency. So we're going to, you know, take some inspiration from this man. Again, this dude is clanging and banging. He is a fit freak. He is a 53-year-old man. Seeing this motivates me more than anything, right? You know, it's great to see that this whole trend of, like, you're basically dead at 50 or dead at 40 is getting pushed back, right? People are working. I mean, there's some super strong, fit, you know, 60, 70-year-old men. You know, they're not the fittest, obviously. You're not going to be at the peak, right? This is more at the peak, okay, in the 30-year-old range. And even that's you're kind of out of the peak. At 53 years old, you're not going to be at the peak. But you don't have to be at the peak, right? And this guy, I mean, for most people, you'd be like, this guy, I mean, if he's not at a peak, I mean, he's pretty high up there. I mean, he's a lot higher than a lot of people if you're to put it in some sort of artificial, abstract, you know, hierarchy. I mean, this guy is jacked, okay? So, you know, that's obviously, it's not the peak. You know, he's probably not the strongest he's ever been, or the fastest he's ever been, or the healthiest he's ever been. But he's probably just half a step below that, right? So I mean, that's enough for me. I don't have to be at the peak at 50. But yeah, so that's, hopefully you take some inspiration from that as well. There's a bunch of great old ass dudes and women who are out there killing it that I love. Laird Hamilton is the number one for me. But yeah, anyways, that's this week's episode. It is episode 33. Thank you for stopping by and listening to it. Hopefully it was good for you. It was good for me. I liked it. I'm excited. Gonna take tomorrow off, maybe the day after. I'm not sure. Hopefully I'll be able to go surfing. And other than that, I will see you next week. Thank you.